Atlanta Falcons vs. Seattle Seahawks, recap, score and stats, October 16, 2016, NFL Week 6. The Atlanta Falcons were attempting to win their fifth straight game behind Matt Ryan, Devonta Freeman, Tevin Coleman and Julio Jones when they visited the Seattle Seahawks, featuring Russell Wilson, Christine Michael and Doug Baldwin CenturyLink Field in Seattle, Washington. Check the scoreboard above for the final score and click on the stats link for game stats. Here's the AP recap. Seattle, AP, Stephen Hauschka's 44-yard field goal with 1:57 remaining capped the 20th career fourth quarter or overtime comeback for Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks pulled out a wild 26-24 win over the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. After watching Matt Ryan blitz the Seahawks for 21 third-quarter points, it was Wilson's turn in the fourth quarter. He led a 70-yard drive that was capped by Christine Michael's 1-yard run with 4:47 left, but a blocked extra point by Rashid Hageman still had Seattle trailing 24-23. Seattle then got a needed big play from its defense. Ryan's pass slipped through Julio Jones' hands, was tipped in the air by Richard Sherman and eventually landed in the arms of Earl Thomas, giving Seattle possession at midfield with 3:48 remaining. It was the first time in the game that Jones was targeted and didn't make the catch. Seattle stalled at the Atlanta 26. This time Hauschka was perfect after missing a 29-yard attempt earlier in the fourth quarter, the result of a bad snap. Ryan was incomplete on his last four throws, including a breakup by Sherman on a long pass to Jones on which the Falcons screamed for a pass interference flag. Wilson was 25 of 37 for 270 yards. Michael had two touchdown runs and rookie Alex Collins added his first NFL touchdown on a 2-yard run. Atlanta's top-ranked defense was stymied by the league's best defense for a half, only to rally in the third quarter and nearly pull off a sweep of Denver and Seattle. Seattle dominated the line of scrimmage in the first half, hitting Ryan 8 times, sacking him 3 times and holding the Falcons to 86 total yards, which made what happened in the second half a shocking turnaround. Ryan finished 27 of 42 for 335 yards and 3 touchdowns. He hit Jones for a 36-yard score on the first drive of the second half, found Mohamed Sanu on a 10-yard TD, and later connected with Levine Toilolo on a 46-yarder as the Falcons rallied from a 14-point halftime deficit to lead 24-17 going to the fourth quarter. Jones had 7 catches for 139 yards. Ryan's third quarter. It was stunning. He was 13 of 17 for 220 yards and 3 TDs. Since the start of the 2014 season, the Seahawks have held 25 teams to less than 220 yards passing for an entire game. It helped that Ryan got 2 huge chunk plays on blown coverages. The first was Jones' 36-yard touchdown catch, and later Toilolo's 46-yard TD catch on a similar play. Sherman eruption. Sherman lost his cool on the Seattle sideline following Jones' TD catch early in the third quarter. Sherman's anger was at the blown coverage that led to Jones being wide open down the sideline, but he was unable to control his emotions on the sideline and was screaming at coaches and teammates. Thomas, Bobby Wagner, Michael Bennett and injured Cam Chancellor all took turns trying to calm Sherman. Mounting injuries. Seattle was without Chancellor, groin, and defensive end Frank Clark, hamstring. Then Bennett hyperextended his right knee on the play when Sanu caught his touchdown pass to tie the game at 17. Bennett was cut blocked by Jake Matthews and eventually limped to the locker room. Bennett returned to the sideline midway through the fourth quarter, but did not re-enter the game. Tight end Luke Wilson also injured his right leg on Michael's late touchdown. Streak continues. For the first half it looked like it would be a struggle, but Ryan continued his streak of throwing for at least 200 yards in 44 straight road games. Ryan had just 83 yards passing in the first half, but threw for 252 yards in the second half. Up next. The Falcons are home for San Diego. The Seahawks are at division rival Arizona on Sunday night. Here is NJ Advance Media's preview of the game. Who, Atlanta Falcons vs Seattle Seahawks. When, Sunday, October 16, 2016. Where, CenturyLink Field, Seattle, Washington. Kickoff, 4:25 p.m. Eastern. TV, Fox. Live stream, Fox Sports Go. Line, Seahawks -6.5. More to know. First meeting between Dan Quinn, former Seahawks defensive coordinator, and Pete Carroll, Falcons spending week practicing in Seattle after win over Denver. Matchup of Falcons #1 ranked defense and Seahawks #1 ranked defense. Falcons lead NFL with 29 plays of 20 yards or more. QB Matt Ryan leads NFL averaging 348 yards per game passing and 121.6 passer rating. Ryan has passed for at least 200 years in 43 straight road games. RB Tevin Coleman had first career TD reception versus Broncos, finished with 132 yards receiving on 4 catches. Coleman leads NFL running backs with 313 yards receiving. Julio Jones had 300 yards receiving in Week 4 versus Panthers, but held to 2 catches for 29 yards by Denver. Jones had 11 catches in only career game versus Seahawks in 2011. Falcons have not allowed 100-yard rusher in 10 straight games. Vic Beasley leads team with 4.5 sacks, 3.5 coming versus Broncos. Beasley also forced 2 fumbles. CB Desmond Trufant played in college at Washington and brother Marcus spent most of career with Seahawks. Seahawks 3-3 following bye under Carroll. QB Russell Wilson had career-high 385 yards passing versus Falcons in 2012 playoffs. In last start Wilson threw for 309 yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions. It was 25th career game with multiple TDs and no interceptions, most in league history in first 5 seasons. Jimmy Graham trying to become first player in franchise history with 100 years receiving in 3 straight games. Graham has 8 TDs in 10 career games versus Falcons. Doug Baldwin has TD catch in 5 straight home games. Baldwin needs 2 catches to become 6th player in franchise history with 300 receptions. KJ Wright has 6 of more tackles in 13 straight games. FS Earl Thomas to make 101st consecutive start, snapping tie with Cortez Kennedy for most in franchise history by defensive player. CB Richard Sherman had 2 interceptions in last game, his first multi-interception game since November 27, 2014 versus San Francisco. Fantasy tip: Wilson is always a good bet, but with extra week of rest is likely to be healthier than he's been all season after dealing with ankle and knee injuries. He faces Atlanta defense giving up 290 yards per game through air.